And the most important thing I need to tell you about Ireland is I need to tell you that March is the favorite month of Ireland. And do you know what month we're in right now?
March.
We're in March. We're in March right now. And the favorite day of the favorite month is the 17th of March. Because on St. Patrick's Day, which is the 17th of March, that's the day that we celebrate all sorts of things in Ireland. It's my favorite holiday of all the holidays in the year. Now I need to tell you a few things about some Irish things. The first thing I want to tell you is about a tiny little sprite, a little mischief maker, someone who likes shenanigans. They're wee little people, and they like shenanigans and tricking people. They're not mean. They don't try to hurt anyone, but they do love shenanigans. They like to play tricks.
What's the
What I'm talking about is a wee leprechaun. Have you ever heard of a leprechaun?
I know who he is too.
Well,
I caught one before.
that's amazing.
I seriously caught one.
I also know a leprechaun. I believe you. I've met many leprechauns in my life, and they're all a lot of fun.
Wait, the
I
wheel?
love it. I love it when I get visited by a leprechaun. They're full of tricks. They're not scary though. They're fun.
Wait, the wheel?
They're so much fun. So now let me tell you a little bit about a leprechaun if you are lucky enough to ever see one. You're gonna discover that if you're ever able to catch a leprechaun, the leprechaun is by law required to give you their pot of gold. And if you get their pot of gold, you'll be rich. So many people all over the world are looking for leprechauns, and they're hard to find because they like shenanigans and they like to trick.
I don't know what those are.
And if you can find a leprechaun, you'll be rich. Now let me tell you where you typically find a leprechaun. You typically find a leprechaun at the end of a rainbow.
I saw the ring.
At the end of a rainbow, if you can find it,
I know that story.
you'll see a leprechaun. And if you can get him, if you can trick him, you'll get his pot of gold. Now I'm going to tell you a story today. It's about one of my favorite leprechauns. All right? I want you to remember some of the things that I told you just now because they're going to come up in the story. Now remember though, if you can catch a leprechaun, you could be rich. And the most famous day to get a leprechaun is coming up real soon. It's coming up on Sunday. Sunday is St. Patrick's Day, which is the day, it's 3 days away. It's this Sunday, and it's the day that all the Irish people celebrate. So today I brought you a story. And you may have heard some of the story before, but it's a little different. It's called The Gingerbread Man and the Leprechaun Loose at School. If you can't see, you might want to come over here a little bit. The Gingerbread Man and the Leprechaun Loose at School. The author is Laura Murray. She did a really good job, and the illustrator's Mike Lowry. You know, Lowry sounds like an Irish name. You know what other name sounds like an Irish name? McLean is an Irish name. Did you know that?
McLean?
Sure is. Super Irish. She's probably seen a leprechaun or two in her time. So here we go. I hope y'all can see. If you can't, you might want to move back a little. The Gingerbread Man and the Leprechaun Loose at School. One Monday in March, the mischief began with a hee from a wee little man. Look at that teacher.
What the world?
You ever seen Miss Frankhart look like that one?
Yeah. No.
We heard a sly laugh as he raced down the hall, when he paused by our door with a wink and a call. "Fo fiddle-dee-dee, you can't catch me, for I'm a leprechaun on a mess-making spree. I'm crafty and keen, and I'm nimble and quick. I love to make mischief or play a good trick. Look at all the kids. They look just like you.
No.
So we rushed to the hall. He was nowhere in sight. But some tiny green shamrocks trailed off to the right. The teacher says, "It seems that our school has an unwanted guest. A magical, mischievous leprechaun pest." We quietly tiptoed our way down the hall, and then we spied a message taped to the wall. "The woodwinds, the strings, percussion, and brass are turned topsy-turvy awaiting your class." Woodwinds and strings, percussion and brass. What is that? Percussion and brass? Woodwind and strings. Do you know what kind of things those are? What are they?
Instrument.
They're instruments. So what class do you think he's made mischief in? In music class. Let's see what happens. "Music," I whispered. "The band room's this way." But when we arrived, we all stared in dismay. The sheets were all scattered, the tubas were tipped, the trumpets, violas, and flutes were all flipped. And there on the board was another green note. I grabbed it and read out his rascally quote. "Fo fiddly-dee, you can't catch me, for I'm as clever can be. This musical mess is just the first one. It's rollicking, frolicking leprechaun fun." Oh, the teacher says, "Let's tidy this room and then plan what to do before he comes back and makes mess number 2. After our lunchtime, we'll work on a trap. Someone must capture that small, cheeky chap." Leprechaun, the gingerbread man slipped from the lunch line and went for a stroll to prowl all the hallways and prankster patrol. "I'll search through the school as fast as I can. I can catch him 'cause I'm the
Gingerbread Man!
I spotted more shamrocks. Then I heard a new noise. I pushed on a door with a sign that said boys. Where's he going? The place was a mess. Then I yelled with a blush, "Where are your manners? Remember to flush?"
Oh my god.
I glanced in the mirror, then spied his green note. I quickly retrieved it and read what he wrote. "For fiddly-dee, you can't catch me, for I'm as sneaky can be. I placed all the books in my favorite shape and planned a few hijinks before my escape." I told you guys what shenanigans were. Hijink is kind of the same as a shenanigan. It's a trick. "I'm on the case," I said as I ran. "I can catch him 'cause I'm the
Gingerbread Man!
Gingerbread Man.
The books were all stacked in a rainbow display. They teetered and tottered and started to sway, and down they all came in an avalanche slide. They toppled so fast I had no time to hide. Then, under the pile, I was startled to find something important that he'd left behind. I'm betting that he might be looking for that. I sprang from the books and I grabbed his hat too. Then I opened the message to read his next clue. "For fiddly-fee, you can't catch me, for I'm as tricky can be. The lunchroom, the classroom, which place should I go? How about a house made from gingerbread dough?" My house? My classroom? I must get there first. So the gingerbread man sped down the hall in a super fast burst. "I'm on a mission. I've got a good plan. I can catch him because I'm the
Gingerbread Man.
I reached our door quickly. No sign of the elf. So I gathered the supplies from a low closet shelf.
Mr. Blackwater.
I grabbed all the pencils and a ruler and glue, and then I found some toilet tissue. I set up my trap, and then I heard a small giggle. I peered out the door, and I saw the knob jiggle. Fo fiddly fee, ha ha, hee hee. Is that my magical hat that I see? With a glint in his eye, he skipped through the door, not noticing the glue that was spread on the floor. Slipping and sliding, he whirled around and log rolled on pencils that were laid out on the ground. Turning. There we go. Oh, this is like the whole map of the whole thing. He landed on top of the measuring stick. The ruler popped up, and it gave him a flick. There's the ruler and the erasers. He slid down a mountain of soft tissue rolls, but his shoes were so sticky that it stuck to his soles. Soles of his shoes. Flipping and flopping, he spun round and round, then wrapped like a mummy, he rolled to the ground. The trap did the trick. I pulled off my plan. Hello, leprechaun. I'm the
Gingerbread Man.
Ho, fo, fiddly, fee, oh my, oh me. This is a bind that I didn't foresee. I'm happy to help you, but first you must say that you'll fix up the messes that you left here today. Okay, little cookie, so craft and so keen. Just hand me my hat and I promise to clean. That's quite a good trick, but I'm smarter than that. You must do it first, then I'll give you your hat. Oh, you're pretty clever as me. And then he winked and he said, may your school be mess-free. With a pop and a crackle and a shimmering of green, the mess disappeared and the room was all clean.
That leprechaun was annoying.
So I pulled on the tissue and spun him around. Then he sprang to his hat with a leap and a bound. He sang out, I'm free, as my classmates came in. And then he did a jig with a wave and a grin. It's time to be going. My mischief here is done. But I'll visit next March with more leprechaun fun. I'm up for the challenge. We'll have a new plan. Bring it on, leprechaun, 'cause I'm the
Gingerbread Man.
That was the story of a leprechaun coming into a school and finding a friend.
Leprechaun.
A friend in the gingerbread man? Do you think the leprechaun and the gingerbread man were good friends?
No. No.